Hello, world, and welcome to this week's episode of Golf Subpar. I'm Colt Knost, as always, joined by the sleazy man, Drew Stoltz. Drew, how we living?
Man, living correct, Another big week here on Golf Subpar. We got a man coming on today that the world, I'm as big a fan as you get of this guy, and I haven't seen any interviews, anything he's done in a long, long time. I'm really, really excited for this interview.
We're following it up after a great episode with Pat Perez. We're going to another, you could say, PGA Tour bad boy. Wild thing.
Original, yeah.
John Daly will be joining us here on the program.
Dude, this is going to be fun. I was a kid. I was born in Arkansas. I grew up just like everyone that came up, around that time. Like, this was the guy you looked up to. This guy that changed golf, like the way the fans interacted, just the way he acted, all the things he done. Like, he is iconic in the world of golf. And to have him sit down with us here, hopefully for an hour or so, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
You got a little pit sweat going. Are you nervous about this upcoming interview?
No, that's just nerve. That's just game time. That's when you know it's game time, dude. I get a little perspiration going.
Man, I'm super excited. This guy, he has been so great to me ever since I was a rookie on the PGA Tour. I'll never forget, I played a practice round with him in 2009, my rookie year. This is a great story. Myself and Ryan Palmer played John Daly and Jason Gore. Okay. We had a little match. And this is when they were filming the Daily Planet. If you remember that, it was on the Golf Channel.
I do recall that,
John Daly. So we're all mic'd up, going on, talking trash. We're playing, I won't tell you the amount. We're playing one downs, though. Okay?
Aggressive.
Me and Ryan proceeded to make 17 birdies in 18 holes.
Okay.
My putter was a little hot that day, and we got to the point where we're on the 12th hole, and I talked to Jason Gore about this earlier today. So we're at the 12th hole. It's par 5. There's water short and right. I had to lay up. John, as usual, knocks it on 12 feet. I wedge it to 15 feet. Make it. He 3-putts.
Okay.
Loses his mind. Throws his putter in the water on a Tuesday practice round. Has to putt the last 6 holes with no putter, playing one downs. Jason Gore wanted to kill this guy. It was absolutely incredible. I think we beat them 15 ways.
15 ways. 17 tweets. Tough break. Also, when the putter goes in the water on a Tuesday, that's when you know it, dude. Like,
you go ahead and book your ticket home on Friday?
That's the real deal. That's the real deal. Most guys would wait till some people to be around so they could tell the story. Oh, Daly threw his putter in the water. Not John. Tuesday afternoon, no one around, gone.
But it's unreal, man. He is just, even today, he's 53 years old. He's one of the most loved guys in the world. Still, if he tees it up, whether it be at a Champions Tour event or a PGA Tour event, his galleries are probably the second biggest out there next to Tiger's.
I was going to say, I would argue that right now, today, he's the second, third biggest draw in golf in terms of, like, if he's in the field, people are buying tickets because strictly of that guy being in the field. I think he's still in the top 2-3 guys in the world.
Yeah, Drew, you're 100% correct. He is one of the biggest draws in the history of the PGA Tour. Unfortunately, during these difficult times, we couldn't have him in studio, but we were able to get him to call in. So it's going to be an audio interview, but it's going to be fantastic. So let's get right to it. Here's John Daly on Golf Subpar.
Our next guest needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. He is one of the most recognizable names in golf. He's a 2-time major champion and the only golfer to ever hoist the claret jug while rocking a mullet. John Daly, welcome to the show, my man.
What's happening, guys?
Oh, nothing. So good to hear from you, John. I'm so excited for this.
Meatball, what's happening?
I knew we couldn't get through the show without you saying that. You're the only person in the world that calls me that, by the way.
You're cute like a meatball, man. Huh?
I don't even know where this came from.
No, it's such a good name, though.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for taking the time, my man. I know these are some weird times. How's John Daly doing during this quarantine? I saw you came out with a remedy recently on how to stop COVID with a little bit of Belvedere, some Diet Coke, and some smokes each day. How's that holding up for you?
It's worked so far. Shame we can't have any humor in this country or this world anymore, without somebody busting you know what. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. That's just doing it for fun, just trying to get some laughs in this tough time that we're going through.
Yeah, and I think for the people out there that haven't seen you posted a little video on Instagram tagging one of your good buddies, President Donald Trump, and all his great golf courses around the world, and people just didn't seem to like it and got a little backlash from it. And I just think people need to relax out there.
Well, it was for the members of Trump Golf. I'm very close to a lot of them. I represent Trump Golf, played Trump's golf courses all over the United States, and great members. It was just supposed to just give them some, just a little fun in their life, and because we all need some right now. We all need a sense of humor as well as, pray for the people who have fallen and pray for this virus to get over. But I didn't mean any harm by it. I ain't gonna apologize to anybody. It's just reporters that want to be, assholes.
Of course. I mean, really, if people get upset about what you said, I mean, it's not like you're out there. It's not like you're a doctor. They shouldn't be really listening to you anyway.
No, I'm not trying to be a doctor. I'm trying to have some fun. Like, there's a million other posts of people doing stuff just kind of the same way, just trying to, have some fun. I mean, it's just sad that there's no sense of humor in our world anymore.
For sure.
A lot of sensitive people. If you're getting your medical advice from John Daly, you got a lot bigger issues than what what he's telling you to do. I'll tell you that.
Well, right. One of my points in that video was about smoking, right? So the French came out with this today. French researchers suggest nicotine could protect against COVID-19. So maybe one out of two were right, or one. I know Diet Coke's probably, that's caffeine. So if you put caffeine and nicotine together, it equals protein. I've been saying that all my life. But,
that is brilliant.
I want you to be my doctor.
Let's go ahead, everybody, and bash my ass for that one too. But it's right here. If you can read that or look it up, it's the French are saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm just doing it.
Exactly, and you're doing a great job of it.
God bless you.
We've been obviously locked away for several months now, or at least having to really be quarantined. What's a day in the life of John Daly look like lately?
Well, I just watch a lot of TV. I have my own golf course here in Dardanelle, Arkansas. I've had it since 03, 04. Me and my son and, my daughter runs the pro shop. My brother's my superintendent. Sierra, my other daughter's married down in Hot Springs, about an hour away. Anna's here. Her daughter's here. My niece is here. And we've had a lot of fun. We can just go on the golf course, play a lot of golf, cut some greens, cut some fairways. My son does it. My brother just tells us what to do. And, at least we can get outside. And I feel for those ones who are stuck, all over the country that can't go outside and don't have anywhere to go. That's really got to suck. I mean, but what can we do? But luckily Arkansas hasn't had a lot of cases. We've had a few, but it's still a tough time for everybody.
Are you getting a chance to work on any new music right now, John? When can the people expect the next smash hit from John Daly?
Well, I'm a one-hit wonder, so I never thought I'd be a hit anywhere in music, but it's more of a hobby. I got some things in the fire. A lot of my good country buddies and a couple rock and roll and buddies are going to write some songs on the next album. I've got a few things written down on the first song that's going to be the title of the album. This old road's coming to an end, but it's not like it's a negative thing. There'll be some sad things in the song, but it'll be more of a positive. And then we'll take it from there and let the professionals that are going to be on the album with me, that write the songs with me, hopefully sing with me as well. It should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. But, the best place for me, where most of my friends are from Nashville that do country and do the music, I definitely have to go there. And right now it's just impossible to go there because of this virus.
For sure. Can you share some of those artists that you're going to be working with us here?
Well, I don't want to put anybody's name out there that won't do it, but I don't want to get hopes up. But I've had commitments from some really great people: Jamie Johnson, Kid Rock, Randy Houser, Tyler Reeves. Johnny Lee wants to do another one with me. There's a lot of them that will help me. Jake Owen, we started one with Jake. Me and Bobby Capps with Mitch Covington, who's a real big with Monster Drink, wrote one, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Third Door Down is recording it right now. 3 Doors Down.
Awesome.
Which would be cool. I mean, it's a great time to write. But I just don't know enough on the guitar. It's not like I can call my buddy like Jocko. He lives about 3 miles from me. We call him he's unbelievable. We call him the human jukebox. He knows over 3,000 songs and he can play and sing. He's one of the best guitar players I've ever known and can sing his ass off. But Toby Keith said he'd do one with me. Some other names will pop up. Chris Cagle. It's just something I wish we were all together doing it right now, because it'd be a hell of a time to do it.
Yes, for sure. And you are very, very talented with the guitar and a microphone in your hand, for those that have not seen it. But you're much more talented at the game of golf, and that is for sure. So I want to go back to 1991 when you won your first major championship at Crooked Stick. How much and how fast did life change for you in just that short week?
A lot. It was a very short week since I got there Wednesday about, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock that Thursday morning from Memphis. Got the message on the phone saying, hey, you have Nick Price's tee time. I'm not 100% sure. I know it was around 12 something, and never saw the golf course. Squeaky. Nick had asked me if I get in, will you let Squeaky caddy for it? And I said, hell yeah. Wasn't really committed to a caddy at that time. The cool thing was I'd already secured my card for 92, which is the first and ultimate goal, on the PGA Tour, hoping you can play good early and knowing you're secured for the next year, the top 125. And wasn't really playing that great going into it. I was hitting the ball solid. I wasn't scoring, and fell in love with the golf course. Everybody's talking about how long it was, and that time I was hitting about a 6 to 7 yard draw and hitting it somewhat far. And I could clear all the tough holes. I could get to all the par fives, the long par fours. I was hitting sand wedges in. It was a big advantage, but you still had to execute. And I putted really, really well. I mean, it's probably still one of the best 4 rounds of putting I did, saving 6 and 8 footers for pars like Tiger does every day. But it didn't really hit me until I got to Colorado the next week on that Tuesday when there's probably 8,000 people right around the clubhouse there, waiting for me to get there. And I went out and played a practice round, and it was awesome. It really was. And it still is.
You're obviously that week you were known for how far you were hitting it because a lot of people hadn't seen you ever play. How much longer were you than most of the guys out on tour back then?
I didn't really pay that much attention to it. I think everybody else just kind of spoke about it. Everybody talked about how long Freddie was. And when I played with him, I hit it past him, and he'll attest to that. But, the key thing is I didn't win as much as I wish I could have with that length. And it just proved to me that it doesn't matter how long you are in this game. If you can't score to win, my short game I thought was just as good as anybody else's, but it's very inconsistent on the greens. I've never been the best putter in the world. Ball striking wise, I still feel like I'm pretty good at that, but I'm a streaky putter like Lanny Watkins was. You get the feel and you feel like you can't miss, but it's a day-to-day thing for me. Colt, you understand that. I mean, sure. Tiger's been the best putter for the last, however long. Ben Crenshaw was a great putter. Nicklaus was the best under the best, the pressure. The only thing I've been very fortunate to, if I've had a lead going into 2 or 3 holes, I've usually hung in there and kept it going to win.
Yeah, John, your win that week was kind of like portrayed by the media as an overnight success, right? Here's an out of nowhere winner. Did you view it that way, or for you was it more of like, hey man, this was a long time coming. I put in a lot of work for this.
I told myself I put a lot of work in it to it, but the cool thing was I had that 10-year exemption, that 10 years in all the majors, and it's changed now. I think it's only 5 when you win, unless it's the PGA or the Masters and the British. You get in for life basically until you're 60 or 65. But knowing I had that 10-year exemption, that was just the ultimate. That to me, that was the most important thing. Knowing I was going to be on the PGA Tour for at least 10 more years, and then back it up at BC at 92, 94 Bell South, had a lot of chances in 93. And when I won the British in 95, same thing. I wasn't really playing that great. But going to St. Andrews, where me and Freddie and Payne Stewart had won the Dunhill the previous year, fell in love with St. Andrews. I said, that's a place. If I can get a British Open, for me, that would be the place, because all you have to do is hit it left off the tee, and I could fly everything back then.
That's a nice advantage to have. I have no idea what that's like, John. I'll be honest. But, John, when you were back in school at Arkansas, obviously your goal was to turn pro and be very successful at this game. Could you ever imagine being a 2-time major champion and honestly one of the most famous people in all the world?
I wouldn't take it that far.
You're pretty recognizable, bud.
Well, I've had some fun in my life, and I've never been scared to talk about the problems. It's always helped me. But Arkansas was a great stepping stone. We were coming on to a pretty good golf team. The likes of John Sadie, Mike Schwartz, Mike Grob, Chris Little, Sean Pappas, who unfortunately we lost 3 years ago. We were long. We were talented, and we were long. We needed that one hole or two holes in the big tournaments that we could have really done some damage. And but we were a pretty tight group. We all got along, and we all helped each other. And we really thought we had the team that could win it all. And we just never could get there.
Going back to when you signed with the University of Arkansas out of high school, the golf coach at the time, Steve Lloyd, told you, I believe, you need to lose like 60 pounds before you enrolled at Arkansas, and you did it, but you did it in a really unique way. Can you tell us how you got that done? That's a lot of weight to lose as a high school senior coming into college.
Well, unfortunately, too fortunately, at the time of my life, coach told me, hey, he was smoking Marlboro Lights. I started smoking cigarettes. Started drinking a lot of Jack Daniels and ate dry popcorn, lost 63 pounds in less than 2.5 months. I wanted to play.
So
all you ate was dry
popcorn?
Dry popcorn, yeah. You just had that's when those machines came out. You just made them in your dorm room. Didn't put salt on it or butter or nothing. It was awful.
That sounds terrible.
Jack Daniels and dry popcorn, dude. That's it.
I'm out on that.
That's it.
I'm out on that, John. I don't like that. But, John, you've had an unbelievable career, lots of up and downs and all that. But, the minimum requirement to get in the Hall of Fame is you have to win at least 2 majors. So, obviously, you've met that. If you had a vote, would you vote yourself into the Hall of Fame?
I think the Hall of Fame should be fans voting in. I think, or the people who are behind it. If I know I've done some pretty stupid things, but the way I look at it, I look at all these greats that are in the Hall of Fame. If they've moved the needle in the game of golf, or they got people interested in the game of golf, like kids that started because of me, or older people that started because of me, then I feel like I should be. But I kind of feel like the fans, Laura Davies. Is she finally in the LPGA Hall of Fame? Because if she's not, it's just a disgrace.
I believe she is. Yes.
Yeah, I think they finally put her in, but I pitched that one too for her. But I don't think it's something that I should really say, or I don't think it's out of my hands. But I feel like I've done a lot for the game, but I've also done a lot that wasn't good for the game. Attitude sometimes, but if I move the needle and got people playing the game, I feel like that's all you could hope for. And I would almost have rather played in 7 Ryder Cups than even think about the Hall of Fame, because I really felt like there was 2 or 3 Ryder Cups that I could have helped our team.
Yeah, and that's obviously a great statement. And I was wondering because, you're the only person to ever win 2 majors to never represent a United States Ryder Cup team. Like, obviously, it seems that bothers you quite a bit. Is there any reason why you think you got left off those teams back in the early to mid-'90s?
Well, probably attitude, probably some of the things I did off the course, and some of the things that I didn't do that I was accused of doing. And there was a lot I did that I really did. But, 91 was a heartbreaker. It was the first year the PGA of America decided not to have their champion be on the Ryder Cup. And I think if the stats are right, I think I'm the only guy that's won 1 major, much less 2 that never been on a Ryder Cup. But, I feel like 94 and 91 or 91, and it moved to an even number sometime, or 2004 maybe. 2004, I think, is one. Those are the 2 years that I know I could have really, really helped the U.S. And I was playing probably the best golf of my life in those 2 years.
Is that something you feel like is missing from your resume? Like, is that one of the biggest, I guess, call it like disappointments that you never got to represent the U.S. in a Ryder Cup?
It hurts a little bit, but, in the early 90s, some of the things I did probably didn't earn the respect from the players. Don't blame them. But 2004, I thought I was doing pretty good. It was the best year on my resume of top 10s, and winning San Diego the way I did. I was like, 17th in the world at the time. I don't think I was too far out of the top 20 on the point system. It wasn't near 10, I don't think, but it was in the top 20, I think. And trying to think, was that Lehman that year was the captain?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, he came to the PGA that year. He says, "Hey, play good." At least I know he was kind of looking at it maybe for a pick, but unfortunately, he just didn't pick me.
Yeah, which is obviously you would have been incredible on those teams and brought some great energy. But back to 95 when you won the Open Championship at St. Andrews, So a lot of people, I actually rewatched the 30 for 30 on you last night, and they were showing the highlights of obviously winning there at St. Andrews. And Constantine Aroka goes and chunks the chip on 18 and then makes the putt. And the look on your face just obviously was, you were completely shocked and devastated that he made that putt. But what was that feeling like? Can you describe like your emotions at that time?
Well, I'm just thinking, when people don't talk about the up and down he got on 17
Yes.
behind the road hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed. I said, something special is going to happen here, because I really didn't think it was going to be that dramatic on 18. I thought he was going to, after he got up and down on 17, which is hard to do behind that hole, behind that green. I thought something special. I thought he was just going to hit his second shot within a foot or hole it out or do something crazy. But instead, he chili dips and makes the 60-footer or 70-footer, whatever it was, and we go in the playoff. And I got off to a really good start on those first two holes. He three putts one, I make par, and then I make a kind of a bomb on two, and I'm two up. And for the people who don't understand, you play 4 holes in a playoff in the British Open. So in St. Andrews, we went 1, 2, 17, and 18, and I was two up, and then he got stuck in the road hole bunker, and I think he was in there 2 or 3 shots, and luckily I got lucky and won it.
Yeah, you mentioned the up and down on the putt on 18. Everyone remembers, but the up and down off the concrete with a putter on 17 is the one that like gets forgotten all the time. When he ends up tying you and you go into a playoff, was there ever a point in time where you were just like, "Damn, maybe this one ain't for me. Maybe this just ain't in the cards. Like everything's going this dude's way."
I didn't really think of it that way. I think for the advantage for me is that right when he signed his card, we're right on the first tee. His emotions were still flying high after making that putt and getting in the to force a playoff. I don't think he had settled down, and I know it's true because he told me. I've seen him a few times after that happened. He says he wished he'd had 30 or 45 minutes, and I think it could have been different. It could have been a lot different, really.
Well, we're glad he didn't. We're glad he had to go straight
everyone in
into
the
it.
States is glad he didn't. I got to ask you this. This is totally unrelated, but I was rewatching highlights from some of your major wins. Do you still have that Reebok pullover that you were wearing that thing? That thing was sick, and I think it needs to make a comeback.
I do. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Well, I wish we could. Our video.
We need a picture of that thing. That should be in the Hall of Fame. But that thing needs to come back.
So, John, a few
I'll
months.
get on it. I still got the
He's going to get it right now.
Oh, he's got it. I texted you a few months ago about this, John. Remember, my buddy wanted to buy it from you, and you're like, "No way, that thing's not for sale."
I actually have the slacks, the golf shirt, the breaker, and the Reebok shoes.
That's incredible.
Do you ever slide the breaker on just at night and just kick back and have a drink and be like, "Man, remember what I did with this thing on?"
No, I don't ever do that.
I would do that.
You should.
Yeah, you should do that, dude. You
But
absolutely should do that.
That's not the only amazing memorabilia you have in your house. Your whole house is just incredible, filled with, autographed memorabilia, pictures, and all this. Can you tell the listeners some of your favorite pieces of memorabilia you have in your house?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I've got pretty much most of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. The Namaths. I got Starr, Johnny Unitas, Terry Bradshaw, Staubach, Aikman, Elway's, Montana. I mean, the list goes on. I got my Namath one I'm staring at right here. There's just so much stuff here that people have given me, and guitars is just insane. Baby Lucille 63, BB King, Kid Rock, Eddie Van Halen sent me 5150 amps with an Ernie Ball. Anywhere from Tom T. Hall to the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's probably 70, 80 guitars up there that in my music room that people have signed for me. It's just every time I look at them, I'm just like, there's no way I met all these people.
That's incredible. And one of the best things, Drew, about John Daly?
What's that?
He is a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan.
Jerry Jones, yeah.
Right, John?
That's right. My son's room has got most of the 75th Cowboy jerseys in it. Your
love it.
Hendersons, the greats, the Emmitt Smiths. Well, here we go. So here's the shirt. Look at this thing, the Reebok.
There it is.
It's incredible.
Has no Hall of Fame or anything asked to have that, or St. Andrews doesn't how some clubs have the wedges that guys hit great chip shots on. They haven't ever asked you for that?
I've given them some clubs, but not this thing. I don't know if that's this is just some black slack. We don't do that anymore. I'm with Loudmouth, but here's the jumper, and you know what? I think it still fits.
That's awesome.
I know you're with Loudmouth, but it'd be great if you came out on the Champions Tour one time, the first time you get into sweater weather, and bring out that Reebok pullover, because that thing is iconic.
And actually, when I won the British Open, I wasn't wearing Reebok then. I was wearing FootJoys, and here's the shoes. I wore them pretty much every day. I remember the old spikes. Look at that.
Wow.
That's awesome. Do you still have the old driver, the one that from Crooked Stick?
Yeah, it's framed in here somewhere. I think it's
somewhere
amongst all my other stuff I won in.
Oh wait.
Afraid to move the computer. We may lose service, but
Here.
What's this?
Show them the PGA check.
Oh, here you go. There, I got that.
You got the check?
That right there. Yeah.
What was the check for?
You got to cash that thing, dude.
What was it? 230. 230,000.
230.
Times have changed.
That's a car.
That
Might want to hold on to that one. That's awesome.
And that one and the British, I think they both add up to about 435 grand. I think I made 200 grand in the British Open.
Well, they added up to a little more off the golf course. That is for sure.
That is, yeah, that's true. But my career money earnings really suck.
You were about 10 years too early to get the Tiger Woods effect.
See, I want to talk about that, because like the way the game has changed now, John, it's basically just a bomber's game. You hit it as far as you can, you go find it. Do you kind of, obviously the money's great nowadays, but put that to the side. Do you kind of wish you were kind of just now getting your career started, because it seems like your game would fit this style perfectly nowadays?
No, because I don't think I'd have lived as long as I have if I'd just started now.
Well, I meant take yourself back to like 22 years old. I didn't mean like start now.
Well, it'd be awesome. When I was hitting 320 and 330 and 40, whatever it was back then with the equipment, a lot of balls and not quite the drivers that we have now. It'd be interesting, but Nicklaus could say the same thing. Who knows if Nicklaus, Sam Snead, he had that long backswing as well. Probably could just coming out, no telling how far he hit it either. Tom Weiskopf was a bomber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people realize that how far he hit it, but it'd be interesting. But you know what? You can't change time, and don't look back on it too much. But I'm very fortunate to have two of them, because there's a lot of guys that's had a whole career that had great careers that hasn't won yet. So. And my pick is Ricky Fowler. He's going to win one soon. That's the one that I think is going to win a major real soon.
It'd be hard to disagree with you there. Is there a current player out on the PGA Tour that reminds you of you at all back in your prime?
Kyle Rami. For some reason, I hope Rami will take that as a compliment. But his style and the way he plays, he's aggressive. He's kind of the same. I see him, he putts. His putter is, if it's on, man, you're not going to beat him. It gets hot and hot and hot, and then I've seen him when he's not so hot. So I feel like we have similar games at his age, and he kind of plays the way I used to play.
He's a hell of a player, that's for sure. And he was our first guest, by the way, on Golf Subpar.
Yes, shout out John Rahm. Big fans.
I love Johnny Rahm. I love him. He's a really cool cat, man. I like watching him play.
Yeah, he's a special dude. And speaking of special dudes, we had your boy Pat Perez on last week, and he mentioned in our interview that you are one of the most talented golfers that he's ever seen play the game. And I know Tiger Woods has made similar comments in the past about you and how gifted you were. What does it mean when you hear these guys, a guy like Tiger Woods, who's arguably the best player of all time, mention your name as guys that are the most gifted that they've ever seen play?
I take it. I love it, and like I said, my whole career was based on hot putting. If I was putting hot, I had a really good chance to win. I just didn't have enough hot putting rounds in my career.
I get it.
Do you have any kind of relationship with Tiger at all, or what was it like back in the 90s when you were playing against Tiger?
He was kind of stand back. His agent didn't let him talk to too many people or do too much. It was tough to get to know Tiger, but I think I met Tiger and his mom and dad when he was playing the Big Eye Insurance Youth Classic. We were playing a Hogan event in Texarkana Country Club, and I got paired with him. And I think the reason he made that comment because I was playing an 8C Max White golf ball, and it was Texarkana Country Club. I don't remember what hole it was, but I hit a 5-iron from 220 yards or something, and the ball came unwound. And I think that kind of freaked him out. I thought it was the coolest thing that ever happened, that he's ever seen in golf. That's what he told his mom and dad. And but I had to get a rules official because it just had the little rubber band sitting there in front of the green. I didn't know what to do. Can I play it But luckily I got to replace the ball, and I only beat him by 3 shots that day, y'all. He was only like 13.
He's a special.
You ever rip the cover off the ball, Colt? Colt ran into that problem a lot in his times, dude.
Yeah, that.
Hell, Colt, you're too young. You probably never even played a lot of ball.
That's true. I didn't
point.
start playing golf till like what was it, 1997? So I don't even know if they were there. That's when like the Tour Professional was around.
The Professional was like the gold standard when I was coming up.
Yeah, that was like a 2-piece ball that was coming out by then. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever played a real soft balata ball, have you?
No, I definitely haven't. And it didn't matter. I don't create enough speed to hurt that thing anyway.
That's a good point. That's very true. John, a little segue here. I want to talk to you about your son, little John Daly, who's turning into a beast in the making. I saw he won a prestigious junior event in Florida. I think it was in September by 9 shots. Like, how much fun is it for you to watch your son fall in love with the game and be as good as he's becoming right now?
It's awesome to watch. I'm a stand back as dad. I don't get involved. I let his coaches do his thing. I don't tell him any information or give him anything unless he asks me. Let him do it on his own. And, I got a club in his hand when he was 2, and all he wanted to do was chip and putt. And then I knew my son wanted to be a golfer, because most kids that want to go play now, they want to go out to see how far they hit it, if they can hit it on the driving range. But he loved the bunkers. He loved chipping. He loved putting right when he was 2 years old. And he's come to become one hell of a ball striker, and he's in it past me now, which I'm okay with. But we still go at it. He's playing the same teams as I am now, and we're having battles.
Has he beat you yet?
Yeah, he's beat me a few times. Yeah.
Oh, that's a big day in a kid's life.
What is it? He's 16, right?
16, yeah.
What?
His 9 iron about 160. I mean,
Ooh,
great.
Yeah. Another reason.
With the ball.
Another reason.
Well, kind of
we're out
with the golf ball and stuff, and the way the kids, they got their irons kind of jacked up now. One thing he did ask me about, the favorite shot Little John loves to me, is how I can hit an 8 iron 130 yards. Mm-hmm. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand 3/4 shots yet. And I'm, if he wants me to help him with them, like Fuzzy Zeller had about 12 cocktails when he did it with a chair at Eagle Trace one year. Son, you ain't gonna win a major. You're not gonna be able to play to win if you don't hit a 3/4 shot. And I told my son that you've got to learn 3/4 shots. You got to learn knockdown shots and stuff. But everybody just seems to hit it as high as they can, as far as they can, and they can find it.
Is he going to follow in the footsteps of Dad and attend the University of Arkansas, you think?
He's gotten a lot of offers, so Arkansas would probably be his first choice. But let him get some visits in. But we were hoping to make some this summer, but I don't know what's going to happen now. So. But I want him to go wherever he wants to go, wherever he feels like he wants to go. He's got a lot of friends in Fayetteville, and he loves the Blessings Golf Course where the Hogs play. He loves the Hog Golf Team. One of his best friends is playing, and Julian gets an extra year now. So Little John will be able to play his senior when he's a freshman. Little John will be able to play his senior year with Julian. So if Coach Brad, if he wants him, but. We hope it'll happen. But whoever, wherever he wants to go, it's up to him. I'm not going to push him either way, but he's just going to know one thing: Dad's always going to be a Razorback.
Well, yeah, that is for sure.
I got a feeling they might want him.
Yes. Well, John, we got one last segment, and then we'll let you get out of here. But with every guest, we do a segment called Emergency 9, just 9 fun questions to get to know you a little better. And I'm going to let Drew start it off here with number 1.
All right, Johnny, this is a question we ask all of our guests on here. I feel like it's even more relevant for you right now. But if there was a movie made about the life of John Daly, what actor would you want to play John Daly?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I don't know. Like in my skinnier years, maybe Matt Damon. In my bigger years.
Okay.
Love that.
Maybe my bigger years would be Chris Farley.
That's quite the range. Either Matt Damon or Chris Farley.
I love that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Has anyone reached out to you about doing this? Because I feel like this is a movie that has to be made.
We've talked about it to a few people. Bud, with Wasserman's talked to a few people about it, but just hasn't happened yet. But hopefully it'll happen one at least before I'm 6 feet under, I'd like to be a part of it.
Please make that happen,
I will
John.
go see it. That
Please
is
make it
for
happen,
sure.
John, for the people.
All right, number 2. If you had to give up one for a month, would it be Diet Coke or chocolate?
No, I could give chocolate up for a month before Diet Coke.
That Diet Coke's tough, huh?
Oh yeah.
How many?
I gotta have it.
What do you think the most Diet Cokes you've had in a day is?
Oh God, probably 28. Probably.
Holy
Oh
shit.
my God.
Oh my
incredible.
God. That's unreal.
But that, was probably when I was drinking a lot of bourbon. So, I only have one drink a day. It's just a bottle. But
That is incredible.
28. That's a sound number. All right, John, next question. How many presidents have you played with, and who is the most fun?
let's see, Gerald Ford, both Bushes. Well, Trump definitely was the most fun. I mean, he was awesome. We just had a great time. I had a great time with all of them. Bush Sr. was great. I'd say Trump, but Bob Ford. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I think there's been 5, 6, maybe 7.
That's incredible.
That's a hell of a lineup.
What's Trump's game like?
He doesn't hit it too bad. He just we need to work on his chipping a little bit. He's got a little confidence in his chipping.
Well, you can definitely help him with that. You're one of the best chippers I've ever seen.
Correct.
But
Get him on that left arm drill.
yep, you are unbelievable.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I was about to say that. It's so unreal how good you are with that left hand. I've seen clips of it all over the place.
Have you always done that your whole life?
I started it probably right after my shoulder got separated when I went from a draw to a fade because I couldn't get through the ball the way I wanted to. And I knew I had to get the left forearm very, very strong to be able to hit that cut and get some distance out of it. So it's been going on for 13 years probably.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to work.
It's good.
All right,
It's
number
impressive.
4. So, John, you've had your fair share of big numbers made on tour, I would say. Whenever they show a hole and it says, like, highest score ever, sometimes your name's up there. Is there one that sticks out to you more than any of the others?
Well, of course, 6 at Bay Hill. That's the one that got the most notoriety for. I mean, I followed up with a birdie on number 7 at Bay Hill.
Incredible.
That's
bounce
good
back.
bounce back stats, yeah.
Well, the funniest was the media asked Tom Watson, how did John Daly make an 18? He goes, well, he just missed a 10-footer for 17.
God. That's incredible. Like, were
18
you just
birdie.
Did you just keep pulling it, or were you just trying to cut off more and more and more on that hole?
I was just trying to hit something. I was in shock after the third one. I think I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened.
Is there ever a point after like the third one where you're like, screw it, I'm just going to keep rifling on this same line and I'm either going to hit it over or I'm not?
I think I did it that day, and probably time in Australia it happened to me. And then when I overcompensate, I missed the water by 80 yards, hit it left out of bounds. The next thing, it goes back in the water. And it's just, there's a lot of people that have been through it, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You ain't the only one. All right, next question, John. This one's near and dear to your heart. Would you rather win a Champions Tour event next year or have the University of Arkansas win the national championship in football?
Arkansas won a national championship.
That's a fan. That's a real fan, dude. That's a real dude.
That is awesome.
I've seen us win one in basketball. I've never got to see us like the 60s when Burroughs we won in 64. People don't realize Arkansas was one of the best teams in college football all through the 60s and early 70s. So, yeah, I definitely want to see Arkansas win a national championship.
That's a real fan.
Favorite Arkansas Razorback of all time?
Oh, that's hard to say, man. I'd make too many people pretty mad. But I think in the modern era, like McFadden and Hillis were awesome. Billy Ray Smith, he was a stud too. There's a lot of them, guys. There's so many of them.
Yeah. Matt Jones was fun to watch. Real fun to watch.
Matt Jones, Ryan Mallett was a stud. He's still a buddy of mine. So there's just tons of them. There's tons of them. I don't want to make too many of my buddies mad at me.
All right.
Tough question.
I'm okay with that. All right. Number 6. You're known for liking to enjoy gambling a little bit here and there, whether it be blackjack or slot machines. What's the most you've ever won in one day of gambling, one day or night?
Bally's, I think, somewhere around $2.8-3 million in one night.
It's a good day.
All I did was go around pay off markers throughout Vegas, though. But I think I ended up doing okay that night.
Damn,
all
I mean,
said and done.
that had like how long did it take to get to that number?
Probably about 3 hours.
Whoa.
That's a hell of a. I was expecting a lot longer.
Yeah, I was too. I've sat with you in Reno before and watched you play the slot machines, and it's rather impressive.
Well, I mean, Steve Monta's the one who witnessed it. We just went in there. I had like 15, 20 grand on me. I started playing a $25 10-time machine. I hit it 2 10-times in a red 7, paid out 350 grand. He goes, let's get out of here. I said, no. We're going to those.
Yeah.
We're going to the $500,000 ones. At one time, I think I had them about 1.9 million lit up on 6 machines, which is pretty cool. It's just one of those lucky nights.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Are you strictly a slots guy, or did you like to roll the dice or play blackjack, or were you just strictly slots?
No, I was strictly blackjack in the 90s, and that's where I got my butt kicked. And slots, I go in now, just have a good time. If I win, I win. And if I lose, I lose. It's not. I don't overbear it. You know what I mean? I go in with the means to, hey, this is what I came in here to lose. If I lose it, I'm gone. So.
Were you when you were playing blackjack? Were you a by the book kind of guy, or were you, I'm John Daly, I'm just going to let it rip and see what happens kind of guy?
Well, I was for the first, I don't know, millions of dollars I lost, and then a buddy of mine says, man, sometimes you got to double down on 12s against 6s and less, and 13 sometimes to change the cards. And I tell you what, about 75-80% of the time that really worked too.
That's a hell of I just picked up a little nugget. I'm going to start doing all those things, and the people next to me were going to hate me the whole time, but I don't care because John Daly told me to do it. All right, Johnny.
The thing is, don't play with anybody if you're going to do it. I always like to play by myself unless it was the same. My friends that did the same thing I did, but there's no right or wrong in card games. I mean, you just got to play. If you just enjoy it and play. You piss somebody off, too bad. It's your cards, your hand.
Yep, tough break. All right, next question. Little segue here. What part of your son's golf game are you most jealous of?
I would have to say his confidence. He's got a lot of confidence that I've never had when I was a kid. He's very humble, but he's sure about himself, and I never was at his age. And I think that's a good necessity that he has, as long as he stays humble.
That surprises me. I feel like you when you came out, when everyone saw you in 91, I feel like you looked, at least, you appeared really confident. The way you walked around Crooked Stick and got all the fans fired up and all that. I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, he's I had field confidence and adrenaline confidence. He feels like he can conquer any hole at any time. But he doesn't have any doubts. I always had doubts.
Okay.
Well, he does have. Honest chiming in, he does have your temper, but
I love that. Don't ever change, little John. That's a
well,
thing.
Colt, I'm starting to wonder. His hair looks just like Pat Perez's. It's curly, and Pat, had a pretty good temper. Has a pretty good temper. I'm just wondering.
That's funny you say that because I was at Pat's. You never know, but I was at Pat's the other day when y'all were FaceTiming, and you were trying to tell Pat that Pat's little girl might possibly be yours. You just never know.
Yeah, and you know what? My son might be his, so hell, we kept it in the family. What the hell?
I love that. That is so great. Well, listen, there's no way anyone could ever mistake. I mean, it's obvious your kid is yours and Pat's little girl is his. I mean, they look identical to y'all.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
That's great. Well, this one, number 8. When back in the day when you rocked your mullet, where would you say your mullet ranked on the all-time list?
Oh, it was the best. It was the best.
Of course it was.
Miley Cyrus was dead.
Billy Ray.
Billy Ray.
Yeah, we did. There wasn't a lot of social media, but his friends to my friends. I never got to meet Billy Ray. We always went back saying, no, mine's better. He'd say, no, mine was better.
Billy Ray's was good. Randy Johnson, one of the only other guys he had a pretty mean one there for a while.
Yeah, but he didn't show as much. He always wore a hat.
Yeah, good point.
That's true.
Very good point. I would put you a 1 as well, Johnny. All right, last question here. What's the first thing you want people to think of when they hear the name John Daly?
They love people.
That's awesome. Yeah. I agree. I tell everybody.
I think they do think that.
Yeah, you're the most loving, caring guy I've ever met, man. You've been a pleasure to get to know, and I can't thank you enough for all you've done for me. That's for sure.
Oh, you're the best, Colt.
I really appreciate
it's
it.
all. My mom always said champions come from the heart, and I always feel like I've had a pretty great heart throughout my career for people.
That is for sure. You have one of the biggest hearts, and we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us here on Golf Subpar. You've been great.
You got it, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks, John. You too.
John.
We'll talk to you
Appreciate
soon.
And that was the man himself, Long John Daly, in the house via audio, coming live from Arkansas. Dude, that was fun. It's unfortunate we can only go like an hour, hour and a half, whatever it is. Like, I could talk all day to that guy. He could tell so many stories.
Oh, he has so many stories. It's unbelievable. And, I mean, one day we got to get him here in Scottsdale so we can have him sitting in between us.
Yes.
Maybe with one of his cocktails or
Maybe
a bottle.
A bottle, as he
Sitting
said.
with us.
Only one drink a day for John.
And telling stories because, I mean, he's got so many. I mean, just him talking about his memorabilia at his house, the people he's met. I mean, B.B. King, I mean, Kid Rock, I mean, to playing with 7 presidents. Just he's fascinating, and it's just like you said, there needs to be a movie made about this guy's life.
If you're gonna make any golf movie in the history, like from any modern time going forward, John Daly has to be the guy you're gonna make. There's no one that's drawn. More non-golfers know who John Daly is than any other guy in the world, maybe minus Tiger Woods.
So I don't know how I was supposed to take this, but my rookie year on the then Web.com tour, I'm playing in Knoxville, and John is in the field, okay, because he grew up in Memphis or was spent a lot of time in Memphis. So he's playing the Web event in Knoxville, big crowds for that week. I'm on the putting green. I'm 22 years old, okay? John's, 19 years older than me.
41.
So he's 41.
Quick math,
He's 41 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm hitting putts, and this guy goes, John, go get him today. And I'm like, John Daly's not. And I turn around. He's talking to me. And I'm like, do I really look?
He thought you were John.
Yeah, I'm like,
dude.
A, you're not a very big golf fan. And B,
Yeah.
I really need to change my life if I'm already looking 41 years old. This is tragic.
There's certain guys I could see getting confused with you on the PGA Tour. John Daly ain't one of them. He's got light blonde, like white hair, mullet, half mullet nowadays. Like, you got nothing coming out, no flow coming out the back.
I was 22. I had a little bit.
You had a little bit of flow. I don't remember you having any flow,
I had no flow
at any point that I've known you. But like, that's the one that's I'm like,
I was like,
how
big
does that
golf
get,
fan, huh?
How does that get mixed up, dude? Some of his stories, like, I love that you asked him because it gets brought up all the time in the media, like how much he lost in Vegas, right? How much he lost gambling. I love the like, yo, how much? What's the most you ever
We're a
won?
positive show here.
Exactly. We're a glass half full type guys. You know what I mean? Like, what's the most you won? He's like, what was it, 2.8 million or something like that? And he's like, oh, by the way, all I did was just drive around and pay off markers in Vegas. I was like, this dude lived a life like nobody's living it right now, and that's why, like, if you're gonna make a movie, do this, dude, and do it hopefully soon because it would be incredible.
I've sat with him, watched him play the slot machines in Reno. I've sat with him, seen him play blackjack. First off, I could never sit at his table when he plays blackjack. He makes me nervous. He wasn't kidding when he doubles on hard 12.
Yeah, he mentioned
and
some
stuff like that. Like,
things.
it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, are you serious right now? This guy is insane.
It's like sometimes you got to double down a 12 against the whatever he said.
And it's not like he's got
against the
$20
six
on
or
the
whatever. I was like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
You're
have
looking
to do that
pretty
at all.
good. Maybe just write it out.
But man, I mean, the guy gets talked about so much for his length off the tee, and his touch around the greens it's so unfortunate people don't talk about that more because it is unbelievable. I was talking with Jim Bones Mackay at Wisbrock the other day, longtime caddy for Phil Mickelson, and just said, do you have any stories with Daly or any rounds?
Yeah.
And he's like, good God, dude, the guy was so talented. He goes, arguably one of the best I've ever seen around the greens. And that's coming from a guy that caddied for Phil Mickelson.
Yeah,
like,
that
hit
means
more
something.
pitch shots. And John brought up when he won the BC Open. They were paired with Phil on Sunday that year in 92. And Bones said, this golf course is like Hilton Head. Tree line, crazy narrow. He goes, John stepped up on every hole, hit driver when everyone else is hitting iron, and sent it up by every green, drove it so straight it was unbelievable. One going away by like 6 shots. He goes, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, he mentioned, he's like, if I just had a hotter putter, a handful of times, like I would have won a lot of times. But like, everyone thinks of John Daly, they think of 330-yard drives, hitting bombs and all that stuff. His hands are so underappreciated. Some of the best. Those videos that we mentioned where he just chips left-handed. Most guys that you see working on chipping, they're all right hand, right? Everything you see, if you're doing it one-handed, it's with the right. His is with the left, which is infinitely harder than the right to hit a chip shot with just their left hand. he hits these little crispy little zizzers and all these different things. It's just like it's a total different appreciation for how good he is with his hands.
Yeah, Jason Gort texted it to me. He goes, he chips better one-handed than 99% of the world with two hands.
Yeah, and that's why like we brought it up in the interview. Like Pat Perez just last week talked about it. Tiger Woods has made quotes in the past. So you can pull up like a lot of people, big-time accomplished golfers, Tiger Woods being the most of all time, arguably, will look at John Daly and be like, maybe the most gifted golfer I've ever seen. In terms of like physical talent, just doing things that other people can't do.
And it's amazing how good he can chip with 28 Diet Cokes in his system.
I respect
that much caffeine. I would have
his whole caffeine plus nicotine equals protein thing. I think he's onto something there.
That's a brilliant.
I would like to
saying.
go see John Daly, MD, to get all my prescriptions going.
I don't know like what the percentage level of caffeine is in like a Diet Coke compared to a Red Bull, but you're a Red Bull guy that drinks 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah, easy. I like to be hyped.
That's got to be less than 28 Diet Cokes. As far as caffeine.
In terms
intake.
of caffeine, probably. I have no idea. I'm not a Diet Coke guy, but I know if you put 28 of those things in your system, dude, you got some shit going on in there. 28, I was like, oh my. And he's like, that's when I was drinking a lot of bourbon. So, I mean, I guess he balanced it out, but like that's an unbelievable amount of Diet Coke.
I'd be up for days.
28 piece.
If I drink like some caffeine after like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm up till at least 2 in the morning.
I like to drink 2 or 3 Red Bulls and then take a nap. Trick my system. You got to shock the system, dude. I'll teach you about that later.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Man, special thanks to John Daly for joining us. Can't wait to talk to y'all on next week's Golf Subpar.